I now have my fuel pump and my sending unit, so let's just get into it. Let's see if we can get this thing sorted out. Well, obviously it's been raining, so I did duck in, but I'm having an issue which has got me absolutely demented. So, took the sender unit out, dropped the tank out, took the sender unit out, and put everything, it made all the adjustments, and put it back in. No output from the sender unit. It's basically reading empty. So, take it back out again. And it's a bit of a task on these because I think I explained it earlier on. The actual filler neck is moulded into the tank, so it's you can drop the tank down, but it's really difficult to actually pull the tank out. So I'm having to do this while laying under the van. So I get my hand in, get the sender unit all lined up and everything, make sure everything's right. Get out, check the gauge, move the sender unit up and down, everything's working fine. So I lift it back into the van again, get it all bolted up, put the fuel back in. It doesn't work. So at this point well, to be honest, I'm wondering if the float itself is actually floating, because I have had that happen before previously on a long time ago on another vehicle. The float actually had a small pinhole in it and it wouldn't float. So I drop everything out again, and I basically set up a little test bench on the garbage cans behind me, and I test the float out. And what I did was I actually moved it over to the side of the van so that I could test the float and everything while connected to the gauge. Everything works perfectly. So I put it in again, and once again I had the actual original float that came, well, the factory float. I can pop that out and I can get my arm in, and I can feel all around the float and everything inside the van, and it's free. There's nothing there to interfere with it. So once again I lift it into the van, put fuel in, can't get it to register again. So the only thing that I can think of is that it's basically, there's just this float that I'm using, it is just not suitable for a really flat tank, and that you need more fuel in than I'm actually putting in. I'm putting in about 5 gallons, although it's probably down to about 4.5 now with little accidents here and there, but about 5 gallons. And I think what's happening is it's just not lifting the float high enough to actually begin to register, and I can't lower it down any because obviously the actual unit now is touching the bottom of the tank, so it can't go any lower than it is. So what I've done is I've went ahead and I've ordered a conventional float, basically with the arm, and I just have to wait until that is delivered so that I can get that put in and try that. But that's the only thing left I can think of. But what I am going to do is I'm actually going to mount it to the location of the original tank float and copy the shape of the arm and everything exactly, so that it is, I'm basically using all the original locations and everything, and that I think should fix this problem. So I have to wait several days for that to arrive. I'm still waiting for the bits for the VW to arrive. I'm waiting for the oil pressure gauge to arrive. I'm waiting for everything to arrive. Well, here we go again. Bits have arrived, and well, obviously new sender unit, but very adjustable one. So hopefully this one is gonna cure the problem. Yeah, I'm going back to this float style, but this is actually a very nice unit there. So actually, I think that is actually going to have enough weight on there to pull that down. Yeah, this, just looking at this, I've just really looked at this closely this morning. There's quite a bit of resistance on that arm. I'm just hoping that this float has enough mass to it to actually pull it back down. Anyway, we'll figure that out. It's just nuts and bolts and what have you. Anyway, the other thing is obviously new fuel pump. I'll leave that to one side for the moment. I'm not doing anything with that right now. Yeah. So first thing is, let's drain the fuel back out again. Good grief. So here is my cunning plan. I'm going to take, so that's the original sender unit there, the Ford one. I am going to mount this one basically in the same, well, give or take, in the same location or orientation, so that it operates in the same manner as the original, the factory one. So when that's up at full, that's up at full, then both the sweep's basically the same on them. So that's the plan. Let's see if I can put it into action. Okay, so far this is what I've got. I've made this bracket here. Now obviously that sits quite high, but if you look at the original is also quite tall, so it is gonna basically sit in approximately the same location as the original did. So what I've got to do now is get it mounted onto there. That's the next thing to figure out, so let's do that. Well, there we have it. We are mounted there. I just need to nip that screw up there a little bit more, but yeah, we've got the same swing and, well, the same arc, and basically it's sitting in the same location as the original, so fingers crossed. Let's give this a test run, see what happens. Well, that's it. Sender unit and all of that is now installed. That's where the old one was. That's all epoxy. It's a fuel safe epoxy that I've put on there just to seal the tank up, because that's where the previous sender unit was. So I'm going to give this an hour or so just to dry up a little, because I don't want to get covered in it. And yeah, we'll get the tank in, and God damn, this time, please work. That's all I'm asking. God. Well, there we go, there's the tank back in. I've still got all the pipe work and everything to tie up, but that's the tank back in again. God damn, I am such an expert at this now. I can take these things in and out in about 10 minutes. So if you do have a Mark 345 Transit and you do need the tank taking out, please don't call me. Well, I've just got the new pump there set up temporarily. I may as well use it to pump the fuel out of the can there. So it's easier than me trying to pour it in through a funnel and spilling half of it, because I've probably lost about a gallon at this point, I think. Anyway, I'm going to leave that for a little while and then we'll come back and check the gauge. Well, this has turned into quite a good day. Not only did the sender unit and fuel pump arrive last night, but that's right, that's my oil pressure gauge. It's also here. So yeah, hopefully in this video we will get everything finished off. Well, now that the sun's gone in, let's take a look, see what we've got on this gauge. There's about 4 gallons in there, so Well, this is just off the empty there, so I think it's safe to say that's working at last. Just turn that off for a moment because you can hear the carball pump that decided it didn't want to be a pump anymore has now decided to absolutely spring into life. So, but yeah, it is registering a small amount there, so I think it's safe to say that the reserve on this is about 4 gallons, so I think that's going to work okay. Anyway, we can now start buttoning everything up and we can get the new pump put on. So I am at the point now of actually getting ready to install the new pump, but this pump is quite a bit louder than the one that I have removed, and I'm trying to eliminate some of the sound. I did have it bolted directly to the body there for a moment, ran it, and it was like clatter, 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 and it was just too loud. So what I'm doing is I'm actually mounting it on well, I've modified the bracket there, and it will be mounted on this exhaust bracket. And the theory is that it will dampen the sound by quite a margin. So that's what I'm playing around with at the moment. It's yeah, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Okay, so this is basically what I've come up with. Now most of this will actually be tucked up under the chassis, so, but yeah, that rubber exhaust bush mount should isolate this pump quite nicely. Now you may notice there is a big plastic, well, it's urethane actually, piece on there. What that'll do is, once it's mounted, it's going to stop it, doing that. It is at the moment because all the bolts are loose, I don't have them tightened up, but yeah, that's the basic idea. Let's see if it works. Okay, and there we have it. But it has got a little bit of movement in it, but it's not a lot by the time the pipes are on and everything. So now we've just got to get it hooked up to the fuel tank and connect the electricals, and off we go. Actually, yeah, there we go. I can't see the camera from here, so yeah, I'm assuming it's pointing at the pump. Anyway, that's it for the minute. Let's get this finished off. Well, we have the pump all hooked up now. It is actually all wired up, all the piping and everything's all hooked up into place, so just going to double check that the gauge and everything still works. Yep, there we go. We've got a working fuel gauge. God damn, that has been so I just for reference, I know in between the empty and the first mark is about 4 gallons. So yeah, which is that about right? Yeah, that so the gauge is reading a little bit low, but that's okay. It gives me a decent reserve, so I'm happy with that. But don't know if you can hear the pump there. It is not running any louder than the old one used to, so I'm good with that. And what is that on the screen? I'll have to have a look at that in a minute. Anyway, I'm happy with this. I'm going to leave that pump running a minute just to get the whole system primed again and start putting tools away. It is after 3 now, so I'm probably not going to get into doing the gauge tonight. It's daylight savings time has come to an end, so we're now on winter time. So yeah, it's going to be getting dark soon. So yeah, I will come back first thing in the morning and I'll do that oil pressure gauge. Anyway, let's go and see what that is on the screen. And one thing I am doing is just looking around under here, just to make sure there's no drips of anything off the fuel system. and she's looking good. So let's get all these tools packed away and then we'll get her down off the ramps. So I'm just sitting here with the engine idling a bit there, and yeah, the gauge has gone up a little bit further now that she's sitting on the flat. So yeah, I mean, that's going to give us a decent reserve. So I'm figuring when it's on empty, it's probably going to be down to about maybe a gallon and a half, which I think that's pretty okay. Try it again. So she's got her sitting idling now. I've run her off the ramps and she is actually sitting on the flat. So you can see the fuel gauge has gone up just a little bit more, closer to the quarter of a tank, which I think that's a good position. Although technically there is quarter of a tank of fuel in there, it does give a bit of a reserve. So I am happy with that. That I think, yeah, I think that's cool. That's going to work. So basically, when she's on empty, there's probably still going to be maybe a gallon, maybe a little bit more in there. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for tonight. I'm going to put these ramps away, shut her down, go take a shower, and then we will come back and we will get this oil pressure gauge put in tomorrow. Oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering, yeah, it's not, that one's not reading any now because I now have it disconnected from the engine. But yeah, just in case anybody spotted that. But anyway, let's get on with this. Let's get this wound down for the night. Well, it's morning, so let's get this gauge installed. And of course I'm having one of those mornings because I ended up having to source some new hose yesterday when I was putting the new pump on because I couldn't find my old hose. Well, it wasn't old, it was it was just what I had left from where I did all the new ones on here. And come into the van this morning and found it straight away because I thought to myself, I'll stick it in the centre console, then I won't lose it and I'll know exactly where it is. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with this installation. So we have everything disconnected there. Yeah, that's the old gauge there. So basically I'm just going to remove all of this cabling here now and just we'll put the new gauge in and then figure it all out from there. I am going to do what I did with the other one though, is put connectors on all of the cables so that they can be separated from the main loom without I can take the gauge out without having to cut the loom. Well, we have the gauge now, well, kind of installed. I don't have the dashboard and everything screwed in yet. Couple of things, I'll come back to this later, but I've changed my mind on the switches. I was having a couple of issues with them and I had these ones, so I've gone with these, but we'll get back to that later. The main thing we're on with at the moment is the gauge. So okay, why are you up there? Ah, we're reading oil pressure. Yeah, I don't know why this one does this. That's odd, that. I don't know why it does that. We do not have a fuel gauge. What's happened to the fuel gauge? Oh great, what have I done? Let me go back and check this, see what I've done. Thank God it was just a simple one. The cable had just gotten itself unplugged out the back there. That was a bit of a concern after everything I went through with this damn gauge to get it working. Let's just stick them back in there. I can get them in. There you go. That's it. Right then. That's alright. Yeah, that was a concern. So now that I know they're all working, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to wire these up. So basically what these are going to do is, red one is going to be obviously rear fog lights, amber is going to be the front fog lights. I don't have a red, I don't have a white one. I was hoping I did, but it's green. So either I might put the green one in, I don't know, but basically it's going to be front fog lights, rear fog lights, and this one is going to be for the light bar. Now, UK law, things like light bars, spotlights, all of that, they technically, when you put your lights on, headlamps onto low beam, then they have got to extinguish. You can't use them on low beam. So what I'll do is I'm going to put a relay in. The relay will be connected to the switch, and then to the high beam. So basically when you put the lights on high beam, you get the light bar lighting up. But I wanted to put a switch in, so if I wanted to, I can still have it there, run the vehicle on high beam, but isolate the light bar. So that's basically what that is going to do. So I do have everything working on the dashboard now, but before I put it back in, I am hooking, well, I'm actually fitting the light bar first, and then I'll put the cabling and everything. And I did accidentally cut through that, but that's okay. I can that's easily repaired. That's not a big deal. It needs new connectors on anyway, so. But I'm looking at, I might remount them somewhere else. I don't know yet. The other thing that has crossed my mind, I know somebody that has a Range Rover bumper laying around. Yeah. Who knows? You might see a Range Rover bumper. Yeah, full Range Rover bumper, because it's about the same width, give or take. But that's for future John. Curvin John needs to get this bracket bolted up. So we've got this all figured out now. Nothing's tucked in, so you know it looks a bit messy at the moment. But if we go put the ignition on, and then we put the lights on, so we're on. Just a moment. Okay, so main beam there. So this switch here. So obviously it's not hooked up to the relay yet, but yeah, that's how it's going to work basically. So that's all done. Do have the light bar on the front there now. I'm not sure about it yet. It's okay there. I would like to have had it higher, but I don't know, we'll have to see. But tomorrow, so this is the cable that's running out here for the relay. So that'll operate the relay. And obviously the relay will be under here somewhere. I'll probably get another one of those heavy duty ones that I've got there, because they're really good, those. I like them. They work really well. So, but it's getting dark. It never looks like it on the camera, but it is. It's getting too dark to see what I'm doing under there anyway. So I think I'm just going to pack it up for tonight, and we'll get back out here first thing in the morning. But meanwhile, yeah, got that here now. So I'm going to be starting that. Well, once I get this finished, I'm waiting on some stuff for the camper van again. That seems to be a constant at the moment, but yeah, I want to get this finished tomorrow, and then the Mini, we will make a start. Basically what we're doing is getting rid of these hideous stripes. I mean, I've been on there with a polishing wheel. You can see it's taken a little bit off. Obviously I've got to go over there and needs to be all waxed and everything, but yeah, we'll work through that the next few days, and yeah, we'll get this one all turned around, and we'll go into some details of exactly what I'm going to be doing with this. But for now anyway, we're working on the Transit. Well, I haven't got it screwed in yet. I've just got it placed in place. So let's just give this a start up. Obviously I haven't got these pushed in yet because I want to make sure everything works before I start screwing things back in and what have you, so. Okay. I really need to do that fan belt. I will do that after I've done this. So let's have some illumination. Oh, there's high beam. So, yep, that works. Rear fog light. And that works. That's the wrong way around, but it'll go in like that. So that works. And front fog lights. All working. Excellent. So it's letting the battery charge a little bit because it's I've been hitting it hard the past couple of days. So yeah, let's just get this all buttoned up, and then oh yeah, and also I put some illumination down there because it's actually, the screen puts a really deep shadow over the heating controls, so you don't actually see them very well. So I thought, you know, let's just put a little LED down there. So it's still got to be stuck into place yet, but yeah, and it'll just illuminate all of those. And yeah, there we go. It's been quite a few days, but that's everything now done on it. Well, except the fan belt being adjusted. So you may notice that now I've got a green switch there, and yeah, unfortunately the blue seems to be a little bit finicky. It's yeah, so I've actually gone in there with the green one. You know, it'll do. It's but yeah, so let's get this all screwed in now. One thing I do have to still do, I have to put the relay in for the light bar. So everything in here is working, so yeah. Well, that's it. Everything is now done. Gauges are all working, light bar is on and done. I will take it out during the night and just give it a test run, end this video with that. But yeah, just popped the menu over a little bit there. I'm going to start getting on with that probably later on today. But not sure when I'll have the first video out on this, but yeah, well, we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's been quite a week with this, but actually it's spanned several since the beginning of this video, but we got there. And once again, I've said this before, but this is an example of sometimes you've just got to keep plugging away at it. You know, it's yeah, it can be demobilizing, and yeah, sometimes you reach points where you just want to set them on fire, but you know, you just got to keep plugging away with your projects. So yeah, let's go have some lunch, and then we will start a brand new video on the Mini. Well guys, here we are, final test of the new lights. So we'll just go around this bend here, high beam, and 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, that is a vast improvement. Go off and on. Yeah, that makes quite the difference, especially on these dark country lanes. Well, there we have it. This has been quite the video. We are now actually in the middle of December, and I started this, when was it? Oh God, I don't even remember now. It's been well over a month, getting on to probably 2 months at this point since the very beginning of this video. But between some of the issues I had and just time, I've just been so busy that I just haven't had a moment to do anything, especially just finish off this video. Mostly because I tend to work on the night time, so my real job, and I just haven't had the time to actually just get out in the dark. But I'm over at the shop at the moment. I'm working on the Mini. You'll have already seen the Mini by the time this video comes out, and yeah, it's been a long one. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me with this. I do appreciate it. As usual, like, subscribe, all of that. Keep the algorithm happy, and yeah, take care and have a good one.